think that the Lord wants you in the world and you to be guessing about what he made you for? Why don't you know it? And to what degree are you living it? Now, where you don't know the vision and the strategy, you should know the principle. In other words, the character of the way you live your life is greater than the things you do to demonstrate that character. Because it's important. Why? Because there are, listen to me now, eternal values. Like, give and it shall be given to you. That's an eternal value. See? If you do not forgive your brother his trespasses, neither will your Father forgive you your trespasses. That's an eternal value. In other words, that means that you not only do these things in your lifetime, but these always will be important to do. Now, what I've said to you numbers of times, it's not the point I'm making now, but I will mention it as a thought, and that is, what's the point of being like God and doing what he says? The issue of the next world is the issue of the use of power. Now, if I go to the end of Matthew's gospel and say to you, what's the last thing that Jesus said to his disciples? Or what's the last thing that Matthew records that he says? And that's verse 18 of Matthew 28. And Jesus came and spake unto them. Spake unto who? The 11 disciples were there. They met him in Galilee. And he told them that he was going to be there. And amazing. And he said, all power, look at that. That particular word is a meaning power, is a word that it is worth knowing what the Greek says in that, because that word is authority, right, privilege. That's not the same word as in Acts, and you should receive power after that. That word is actually dunamis. But whether you interpret either one of those as power, which in the King James, is that my memory serves me correct, both of those passages use the word power. In this particular place, as a believer, you have the right and privilege through the declaration of Jesus as a disciple to walk in the authority of Jesus. Now, what I said to you is that this right begins in your lifetime. And the disciples demonstrated it in their lifetime. This authority, this right. And so Jesus says, okay, I've given you this as my disciples. Go ye therefore and teach all nations. What? So their assignment, you can say, was national. That may mean, like if you have a national ministry, say if you're in the United States, that means you can go to each state. But Jesus says here, all nations, their call was global. The call of the disciples spiritually matched the call of Adam originally. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth. That's authority. God had given Adam. Jesus comes as the last Adam and delegates global influence to the disciples that followed him for 3.5 years. Those that met him here in this place in Galilee. Powerful stuff. I mean, I'm getting excited about it because it's illuminating to me not just to have a successful ministry, a large church, best-selling books, or a great mailing list, or millions following you on social ministry, social media. That's not the stuff Jesus said. He says, make disciples of nations. Every leader of every nation had and has a background. And someone taught them, trained them, educated them, discipled them, in some way influenced them, and that leader received what they learned from someone other than themselves. I don't care how much they're in denial about it. This premise of generational transfer is the created order, starting with Adam. And Jesus was doing this to his disciples. All authority has been given to me. Look, in heaven and in earth. So therefore, you know that Jesus then expanded the jurisdiction of the disciples. They, from heaven, look at this, and earth. How, Jesus, then can I exercise the authority in heaven? I'm not there yet. I'm in the earth. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. That's in the power of prayer. What you bind on earth is what? Bound in heaven. What you loose on earth is what? Loose in heaven. The whole fight that we as Christians are authorized by Jesus to fight, and particularly authority, is in the realm of the invisible. Look, man, I said this just yesterday to some people. And I said that this division that's going on in America between the two parties that are the major parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, that's a war. They're fighting each other. Watch this. On a foundational level. They're saying to each of them that you're wrong about how you're looking at things, and look at their influences. Now, I would say this. Now, there are multiple cultures that have come to this nation, and it's not just Black Americans and white Americans. I can say it this way, it's just not black and white, but biblically it is. Because they're dealing with the foundations, and Psalms 110 says that the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? If the foundations doesn't go back to what I'm talking to you about, and they're just dealing with the issues that each of the party espouse as primary, and they don't go back to the issues that Jesus espouses as primary, which is on a principle level. In other words, when this fight is over, it's going to be when the Lord winds up history. And for whatever each of the influences of these parties espouse as how the nation should be run, they're going to give an account for it in the great day. And woe to it may be not to some of them, but to all of them, because they were fighting in the wrong arena. So bless you. Look, be encouraged. For the joy of the Lord is your strength, is my prayer for you. God bless.